What's poppin', people? Welcome back to Say Less with Kaz and Lowkey. I am Kaz.
Yo.
This is Lowkey.
What up?
Shout out to Whistle Sports. Shout out to Brother.
Yeah.
We back. Thank you all for subscribing. I've seen the jump in numbers. I've seen people starting to come around. Feel like we're starting to get the little hang of this.
You said 49%?
Yeah, we're not gonna get into specifics. We won't get into specifics, but
I'm just asking.
we're looking good. I feel like people like this.
Listen, man. I'm talking about things that I don't really, talk about. Discussing things that
we talk about it in private.
Yeah, we talk about it in private. But like I'm interviewing wrestlers, interviewing pro golfers, talking wrestling, talking. Yeah, I mean, so
shout out to Tisha. Shout out to MVP from last week. Great episode.
Out of my comfort zone, bro. So thank you.
It's good to get you out of your comfort zone.
It is.
You perform well outside of your comfort zone.
I do.
This is true.
I'm starting to recognize that.
Absolutely, man. But shout out to everybody who tuned in last week. Great episode. It's an empty day today, all right?
Yeah, ladies ain't here today.
No ladies in the house.
No ladies ain't here today.
So we can really get into it.
We can really talk some shit. And it's crazy because this would have been a good conversation for them to be on.
It would have been a great conversation to have them be a part of. But
let's talk about
why?
Why? This is not
women. What do they know?
They know about anything.
Just kidding. The only person in the house today is my good friend Eden. Everybody knows Eden.
What up, B?
Behind the scenes, setting everything up. But what did you watch anything on TV this week? What did you watch on?
Man, watching the NBA.
Wow, NBA's back. It's
NBA's
good.
back.
Baseball's trying, but they fucking up.
Baseball's fucking up, so I kind of tune that out. But there's something very, very special and monumental that hit the interwebs. Disney Plus.
Yes.
Beyonce.
Black is King.
Black is King.
Oh, what a title.
Let's talk about it.
My God.
Let's talk about it.
I liked it except...
Go ahead.
Nah, that's the thing. That's the whole point.
Good.
That's the whole point.
Listen. You're not about to catch me out there on Front Street. Listen.
All right, so boom. Okay, this is the idea. This is the concept, right? I was texting Alone yesterday. I was like, hello. Bone up on your Beyonce, bro. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's episode is going to be called The Church of Beyonce.
Okay.
And he said, oh boy.
I'm like.
Which is my point exactly.
Oh my God.
Which is my point exactly. This isn't a shit on Beyonce show.
Right.
This isn't a praise Beyonce show.
Right.
I just think the following of Beyonce is fascinating to me.
Do you get a rise out of fucking with people?
No, I'm not fucking with people. No.
Is this something that, especially on a Sunday,
listen,
do you get a rise out of this?
Listen.
Please tell me where you're going with this.
I'm not trying to tell you I'm not a huge Beyonce. I watched it this morning before we came in because I wanted to come in with it fresh.
Okay.
I didn't say a word and I just watched it like in awe just of like
the structure,
the scope. It just felt so fucking grand. Mm-hmm. Like everything in there and fresh and just the cinematography down to the clothing, down to the music. Every single thing just fucking hits on so many levels. Mm-hmm. It's magnificent.
But
I don't have a but.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing.
I thought you were about to drive that point. I'm like, okay, where's it going?
The point is, I don't have a but. Me personally, I love it.
Yeah.
But what if I didn't? What if I didn't? Like, what if you were just like, because I've seen a lot of people on social media. Yeah. I've seen people.
I know No Name said some stuff about.
No, that's her name? No Name or No Name?
No, yeah, whatever. No Name.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Sorry. Please don't.
I don't want that smoke at all.
Twitter rant me or make a song about me because I didn't pronounce the name right. But she had some things to say about the film. I understand what you're saying. What if you didn't like it?
What if you didn't like it? Why is it that you can't even mention Beyonce critically? Not saying I would. To me, Beyonce is the GOAT. Like, in my lifetime, I've never seen an artist that consistent, raise the bar that many times, put out countless, visual spectacles. I don't even, judge Beyonce off music anymore. Like, I just judge her off of moments. And, anytime I think of Beyonce, I don't necessarily think of just, songs or albums. I think of moments. Like, I think of the first time we saw the Single Ladies video, and it's a one single shot fucking masterpiece. Then I'm thinking of Crazy Love when she's busting out as a solo artist for the first time.
Then the surprise album.
Lemonade, you know what I mean? Fucking the Beyonce self-titled album. The fact is, to me, man, like, it's incredible that she's reached such a status that you are literally playing with your career, and in some cases, you're playing with your life. If you mention Beyonce critically.
We're not going to talk about the artists
Why
or
not?
the people that have.
Why not? Yo, artists have literally lost fan bases. They have literally not had.
I think Beyonce is a person that you revel and you celebrate and you marvel after because there's an elegance, there's a mystique to her. There's this beautiful passion about her art, her craft, her family. There's every checkpoint on a perfect woman, she hits 9 out of 10.
It's like Beyonce,
and to criticize that,
I feel like she feels like she's like the Terminator of entertainers.
It's like you can't. She can do no wrong.
She was built for this. Like we've known her since Star Search.
She's not perfect. So like we could criticize some of her shit.
Can we?
Yes, we can.
I don't think we can.
Why?
Because the Beehive comes for you.
Man, fuck that social media online shit.
Not even social media shit. Like people people legitimately like look at you crazy if you're like, well, it was alright. Like if I watched if I came out of Black is King or the last project, the Carter's project, right? And I was just like, it was cool. It was alright. I don't even feel uncomfortable saying it now. Like,
some shit on there wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Some shit on there wasn't the greatest.
Right.
It was a solid project. Like it wasn't their best.
And like I said, this conversation isn't just a let's nitpick at Beyonce type of thing. I just mean the whole
scope of it.
On the whole scope of it, why is it that we can't even mention something? You can like 98% of Beyonce. If you mentioned the 2%, like, that was all right. I wasn't feeling it. How dare you? That's why black men don't support black women.
This is one reason why we should be talking. There's one reason why we should be talking about this, because how these black men gonna sit here and talk about, bro, listen, we're music fans.
We're fans of music.
We're fans of music. We're fans of film. We're fans of all of that. So we can talk and have a conversation about, the quality of music and the quality of a film. That has nothing to do with her.
Right.
If it was Beyonce, if it was Prince, if it was Anita Baker, if it was Michael Jackson, we can break this shit down and talk about it.
Right.
Beyonce has built some kind of fucking force field around her that does not allow criticism on any regard.
From the NDA, the legendary NDAs.
But I respect it.
Of course I respect it.
I respect it.
I'm not, it's not a critique on Beyonce. I'm just trying to break down the critique to
killed on this.
Society. No, society. Why? That's the thing. Like, yo, how come? Why can't we just even? We can't even mention. Like, yo, like society, like the way we mythologize celebrity and the way we like lift people up to such crazy heights. Here's my thing. I know the power of Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
I love the power of Beyonce because she brings something out of women, and specifically black women, that is fucking beautiful to me.
Right.
Like, Beyonce makes women everywhere feel empowered. And she empowers them just by her craft, just by her genius.
That's how she does when she talks.
The way she talks, the way she walks, the shit she wears, the things she says, the way she carries herself, the way she gives back. Like, it's inspiring. You don't gotta be a black woman to not be inspired by Beyonce. I watched that shit today and didn't say a word because I was just sitting there just like,
in awe.
How the fuck do you pull this off? Like, it's incredible to me. This isn't a Beyonce critique.
Bro.
It's a critique on society. Like, what's the difference between Beyonce and Jesus?
Literally.
What's the difference?
Literally nothing.
What's the big difference? Except we know where Beyonce is. Like, we can
one
see
is
her.
a man, one is a woman.
Bro, she has legions of followers. She has verses that people quote and live by. Like, she's gosh, you don't bring her up at the dinner table or else there's gonna be an argument unless it's full agreement.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Beyonce and Jesus?
So
what's the difference between Beyonce and any historical religious figure?
Are we going on record and saying that Beyonce is Jesus?
I'm not gonna say Beyonce is Jesus.
Are we going like, because the comparisons you're making?
You know what? I'll tell you this.
We're getting really close.
I'll tell you this. I think there's way more, and this is like I said, this isn't a critique on Beyonce. This isn't a critique on anything else. I truly believe in my heart of hearts, there are people on this earth that are more moved by Beyonce than Jesus Christ.
Because Beyonce looks like them.
And I'm not saying,
Beyonce looks like us. Beyonce sounds like us.
course.
Beyonce is from our community.
Of
Beyonce
course.
has started from the bottom, no pun, whatever. Started from, where she was, and now is this mythical figure in a big ass entertainment industry that is known to shun black women, that is known to not let black women have power, that is known to say, no, your voice is too loud. And here she comes. Album after album, and now Disney gives her a fucking bag, and she throws Africa in the face of the world, and like, these are our colors, these are our textures, these are our legacies, this is what we are. Black is king. You know how powerful that kind of statement is? That's a powerful ass title. Absolutely. And a black woman who's close to being a billionaire is putting her shit on the line and saying no. Especially right now. Right now, you know what that looks like.
From what I've told about like the project, apparently it's been in the works for like the past year.
I think year and a half or something like that.
And it was shot. I think it was shot around the time like the Carter's album dropped. They're probably
in production.
Oh, it's probably in production.
It's in production, yeah.
But things slowed it down, and I don't know what happened, but like eventually got pushed through the door, and it eventually came out. So I absolutely think that
Beyonce is a religion.
Beyonce's a religion.
You're right.
Beyonce's a religion.
When you send me that text,
people subscribe. Like, I know motherfuckers that subscribe more to the Church of Beyonce than any formed religion. Not to say like people, people could be spiritual, could be religious, whatever. Like, but people follow her. Like, very few people on this earth.
I will subscribe to that church, and I will visit that church every Sunday. I will pay my tithes and offerings. I will jump and get the Holy Ghost of Beyonce Knowles Carter. I am here.
It's
fuck what that nigga's talking about.
No, see,
I am here.
Here's my thing.
Because that's what happens.
Here's my thing. This is
Beyonce.
The whole point of the conversation. Right. I haven't said a single bad word about Beyonce one time. The fact that even this is a discussion that isn't 100% praise due and bow down and she's this, whatever. Even if you insinuate any dissenting opinion on Beyonce, you're fucked.
Some people just leave them alone.
I get
Beyonce is one of those people.
Listen, trust me. Alone. I get it 1,000%.
LeBron is almost the same way too.
I get him alone. No, but LeBron, you can shit on. Skip Bayless made a whole career shitting on LeBron. If there was a Skip Bayless for Beyonce, they burn him at the stake about it. So how do you tell me that that's not the cult of Beyonce, the Church of Beyonce?
Listen,
is a religion.
What I've learned this past week, dealing with women.
Oh boy,
you pick your motherfucking battles, and you fucking save some of that shit and just get over it.
Yeah,
I'm picking my battle right now with Beyonce. I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it?
I'm not doing it. And I like what she does, what she produces, what she represents.
Nobody is taking anything away from her greatness, from the power that she has. Like, she has power. I'm not being hyperbolic over there. Like, Beyonce has true, tangible power over not just women and black people, especially black women. Mm-hmm. Like, she has a hold on a community of people that you almost never see in your lifetime with certain celebrities. You've seen it with Michael Jackson.
Prince.
You've seen it with Prince.
Elvis.
You've seen it with Elvis, right? Like, you've seen it with, for a short amount of time, like Britney Spears. You know what I mean? Like, but even that, they weren't doing it on Beyonce's level. Like, to me, the only comparable comparison is Michael Jackson. And Beyonce never got into a lick of the trouble Michael Jackson got. And then you want to grab the door for Vic? It's all good.
I get that, and I
just turn it down there.
I understand it.
Yeah.
Beyonce's legacy is just. I believe some people look at it like this. She's past, well, no one is, but she's almost past the point of criticism.
She's 1,000% past the point of criticism.
And
you can't even.
That's what I'm saying. So you look at what she's doing, you look at what she represents, and you can't remember the last time an artist really put their neck out on the line like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's transitioned from the R&B, pop, and now like just, she's a worldwide cultural figure.
Icon.
Like an icon.
Yeah.
Like what else? Like, what else is there to do? It's what, run for president? And I'm not trying to put her in that hot seat. She don't deserve that kind of stress.
I don't want to talk about, true power and influence. Maybe that's where I'm making my mistake.
What?
Maybe I'm confusing power with influence, right? I think Beyonce's influence isn't necessarily presidential-like. It's not like how presidents have power.
But it kind of is. If we're gonna say if we're gonna compare her to Jesus,
I mean, influence and power is very different. You know what I'm saying? Like
she's got both.
Yes, she has powers for a certain segment of people. If Beyonce came out tomorrow, it was like everybody who ever bought an album of mine, or everybody who fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that's why certain celebrity endorsements are so powerful when it comes to, elected officials and politicians. Like, that's why they don't say shit when it comes to politics. Right. Like, if Beyonce came out tomorrow, it was like, Joe Biden, if you don't pick Kamala Harris to be your running mate, no one's voting for you. Right. Goddamn right, Joe Biden's gonna pick Kamala Harris to be his running mate. But that's the thing. That's just influence. Power is the ability to be like, fuck out of here and just do what you want. Like, not saying they're mutually inclusive.
She canceled someone's career.
She canceled many careers, and it's not even her. It's not even her who does the canceling.
That's the power.
It's the power of her fan base.
No, once she said something, that was it. Or once someone said something about her, which is why she's past the point of criticism, so I'm not going to criticize her. I like my career.
We're not criticizing her.
I like my career.
We are not. That's the thing. We are not criticizing Beyonce, bro. We are just making a statement.
Anything off the cusp, anything not praising and powerful.
But why?
Because
we're making a statement of society in general and how we treat this human being who is a person. She's a person. Yeah. She's one of the most incredible people who has ever walked this earth. Probably the best live performer I've ever seen in my life. Right. One of the most global, like a global icon, somebody who has legitimately changed the world. Nobody is criticizing her. I'm just saying, why can't we say anything about her without society and the people who empower her? Not like the people in her circle. I'm talking about like fan bases. Right. Like stan culture. Right. Like stan culture in itself is fucking toxic and poisonous as hell. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Granted, Beyonce's never been like you've seen the power of stan culture for good and you've seen it for bad, right? Like you've seen the Barbies and Nicki Minaj and the Cardi B stans go at it.
The Navy.
The Rihanna Navy, all that bullshit. Like very, very, very negative shit that ends up on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen the Beehive do anything, you know what I mean? Like,
out of the ordinary, off the cusp or whatever. So yeah.
Not saying they haven't done it, but it's never been spearheaded by her. You know what I'm saying? She's never put herself in a situation where it's like, man, fuck this. Because she knows. She knows she can't. She knows how powerful and crazy her fan base is.
And that's why I look at her like, yo, bro, like she gets it. Like she understands her power. She understands her influence. She understands how much people look at and revel her. Like she just gets it. And when you put out projects like Black is King and you put out projects like Lemonade and exposing your life and exposing the cultures of the world, it's like, what? Nigga, like, leave her the fuck alone.
And I am leaving her the fuck alone. That's why this
leave
conversation...
her, like, yo, all the shit she's doing for women, all the shit she's doing for black women, all the shit she's doing for black culture. Yeah. Yo, bro, like, I get it. Yeah. You were past the point of criticism. If y'all niggas want to say I'm, all her ass, like, listen, I'm not. I just know what it is. I see it. Like, some things are just very cut and dry. Yeah. There's some people you just leave the fuck alone. She's one of them.
I just think it's very interesting to me, man.
It is. Like, it's extremely interesting.
And it's like, with her, imagine if she wasn't the person that she was. Imagine if she fucking like used that power of influence negatively. You know what I'm saying?
And we're glad she did. And we're glad she
Kanye
does
West. I know we promised not to talk about her anymore, but like, look at Kanye. Like, we've seen people that powerful, that influential, use their influence in a negative way.
Granted, the things that he's going through compared to the things that she's going through are way, split.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Losing his mother, fucking.
But here's the thing: we don't know what Beyonce goes through. We don't know shit about Beyonce, really.
And that's also the mystique and the beauty of her. Like, just looking at her and be like, she's just mythical, this mythical figure. Like, who? What does she do? What does she eat? Where does she? Bro, we don't know shit about Beyonce.
Bro,
we know she got 3 kids.
Bro,
husband is Jay-Z. Beautiful mother, father. Was part of Destiny's Child. Has multi-platinum selling albums from Houston, Texas. Was on Star Search. And that's it.
Has been famous since.
Since then. That's all we need to know.
She was a damn near a toddler.
Carries hot sauce in her purse. That's all we need to know, my nigga.
It's very Jesus-like, bro.
And got a thorough ass fucking little sister.
Yeah. Shout out.
We're not gonna speak on that, but bro, that's all we need to know. I don't need to know everything else. What you're showing me right now is what I love it.
I'm cool with that. I mean, like, Beyonce is one of those people who've come from the era of mystique from artists.
That's how those artists were back in the day, bro. We didn't need social media wasn't prevalent. We didn't need to know who he was dating. Nigga, you can see how long it took them for her and Jay-Z to come out.
Yeah. I had to go back and listen. I had to go listen back to old J records about, oh shit, okay.
Listen, I like that era.
Nigga.
I like, exactly. I like that era of music where I didn't know everything outside of the album and outside of the music. When I didn't know what the fuck, where you lived, what you ate, who you dating, who's fucking. I love that. That ain't none of my business.
Yeah.
We're too invasive now, bro.
It is invasive. And on top of that, though, I just think it's to me, this discussion has never necessarily been about like us wanting to know more about Beyonce. Like, I don't, she's a celebrity. Like, she's just a person. Like, I don't need to know what she ate for breakfast and what
she's a black woman that's very good at her goddamn job.
I don't think there's any, there hasn't been any, there's never been anybody better at her job. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there ever will
as
be.
far as like when you're talking about somebody who's been that famous for that long and has
upped the ante every time.
And has managed to not even sniff have a whiff of fucking scandal
at all
since what, 97? 96?
96, well, 90, like 97, 98.
The most she ever got caught. The most she ever got close to the scandal was kicking people out of her group, kicking people out of Destiny's Child. Like, I mean, that's the only thing I remember.
Beyonce petty.
I mean, hey, I'll put it like this, man. I've never seen. There's so many people that bring together so many people from walks of life, with just their art. You know what I mean? That's something that we'll probably never see again in our lifetime. Like, I mean, we'll obviously.
Maybe for other generations. For other generations,
but like this.
Someone's studying her right now. Someone's looking at everything she's doing. Someone's listening to everything she's saying. Someone's listening and watching everying she's doing.
So here's my thing. To that point, there's certain people that, granted, what she does is culturally relevant. Right. Like, it's tent poles in culture. Yeah. Like, we don't think about #1 singles or sales when it comes to Beyonce, because Beyonce projects are events. But now, you look at somebody like Rihanna, who is like not too far behind as far as like being someone who is, and again, this isn't me comparing or putting people against each other. I'm just talking about the terms of fame and greatness, and how somebody.
He getting himself. You gonna get himself in some trouble?
How am I getting out? See, why can't we talk about these things, yo? Why can't we talk about these things? Women talk about these things all the time.
This is what happens when we talk about women shit.
All I'm saying is this.
Listen. Okay. This is what happens when we talk about women shit. The fact of the matter is, it's none of our fucking business.
Listen,
I understand.
I'm not comparing two black women. Bro, I'm not putting them against each other. I'm talking one icon and another icon.
Some things are just not our fucking business. Rihanna does what she does. Beyonce is who she is.
Yes.
And they are coexisting in this fucked up world, making a shit ton of money for their families. And that is the point.
Low.
Leave it there.
Low.
Leave it there.
Why don't you like shaking the table?
I love
Why
you.
don't you like shaking the table, bro?
I'm shaking the table.
I'll shake the table over here.
No.
God damn it.
I have learned to not shake the table. Sit down at the table and mind your manners. Rihanna, can't wait for that album. Beyonce, I will watch Black is King tonight, tomorrow, until my birthday because we are Virgo babies.
All right, so when the Beyonce...
I'm playing it politically correct on this show. So whatever you're trying to bait me into,
So when you
Rihanna,
when you in a party, right?
Right.
What song gets you? What you've hosted these parties?
Yes.
Which artist, you know what I mean? Like, do you end up playing more at parties, like at events that people enjoy in open settings, in crowds, and parties? Beyonce, Rihanna,
T-Pain.
Oh, so you're just gonna go with a black man? The man can't do something as good.
All right, come on, you know that. It depends the vibe. It depends the environment. It depends the crowd. Like, if we're at a day party, Beyonce, they're both gonna ring off.
Of course,
they're both gonna ring off.
Course.
Depends on the DJ if he understands what the fuck the crowd and the mood and shit.
Right.
But they're both gonna ring off.
I like bringing up Rihanna because I feel like Rihanna's kind of like next in line as far as like that status past icon status where Beyonce's at. Or we're comparing her to Jesus Christ. It's just
you were.
All right, I was comparing her to all religious figures because I feel like Beyonce's followers.
This is gonna be my new thing, throwing you under the bus.
I'll stand by it. I'll stand by it. We don't know crazy Beyonce fans. We don't know people that listen to Beyonce more than they listen to their Bible, more than they go to school. Like
it's relatable. It's a relatable thing. They look.
This is the thing. It's not about Beyonce. It's not about Rihanna. Mm-hmm. It's about the people who empower her, the fans, society, celebrity culture, all this type of stuff. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Celebrities, when you're using the right way and you're taking them in a healthy manner, It's fine. I'm just saying there's somebody born with feet and legs like you and me that is looked to in the same light as like Jesus. Anybody who's ever walked this earth, just as far as like followers are concerned.
I'm just saying, when you lay this groundwork, when you do these things that you do, and
it's not to say she don't deserve it too.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when you speak up for your culture, when you represent your culture, when you put on other black men and black women, when you represent the sounds and the vibes and the color of our homeland, when you tackle the Lion King. Like, who the fuck does that? You know what I mean? Like, you expose your marriage, you expose your trials and tribulations. You're a beautiful singer. You're a fine black woman from the South. That right there is like, how can I not sit and marvel this beautiful black woman who looks like my mom, who looks like my sister, who looks like my girl, who looks like my aunt. Bro, that's all we wanted, to see black women. And this is what it is. This girl is representing what winning is supposed to look and feel like. And she's doing it in a creative and in an iconic way, bro. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, dick ride or anything, but like, bro, she's just past the point of criticism for me. I can't.
It's not dick riding.
Even though I don't think she can sing that well.
You don't think she can sing that well?
No,
you don't think Beyonce can sing that well?
I don't think she.
Well, doesn't think Beyonce can sing that well? Oh, I didn't even say all that. That's what you go with? You're going to go all that hard about
we all know she doesn't have the best voice. Like, let's stop. Like, come on. We all know she doesn't have the best voice. Beyonce's a good singer, but like, she ain't Anita Baker. She's not Whitney. She ain't Mariah. Like, let's get it. Let's understand that. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted.
I disagree. I think vocally, I think performance-wise, I think everything when it comes to performance-wise, I think Beyonce could out-sing anyone. There's certain songs that calls for her talent to, sound certain ways. But if you want to go blow for blow,
out-sing?
She can go with them.
She can't. She can't out-sing Mariah.
I've seen her do it.
She cannot out-sing Mariah.
I've seen her have performances where I'm just like, oh yeah,
so this is the point of the show why I mind my business. Let me go.
Why? We here now. We already got here. I went a whole half hour without saying a disparaging remark about Beyonce, except just her fan base. And
that was your
society.
whole point for this, though.
That was a little bit.
That was your whole
matter.
point for this.
That
was your whole point for this.
I'm trying to make a point about
You made your point, and I'm telling you why you're
about Beyonce's power,
and I'm telling
it's
you why
incredible.
that point. I know, and I'm telling you why that point is valid. I'm telling you why. Like what I literally just ran off and said about her being this iconic figure and this, that, and third. That's why we're having this conversation. The influence, the things that she's done, the work she's put in, the legacy she's leaving, the people she's aligned with, the things she's done for her community. Like those things line up, and those things will stand the test of time.
Right.
And a black woman is doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a black woman is doing it. So
you ain't gonna get no complaints from me on that.
Yeah, when you talk about influence and power, my nigga, look at the fucking legwork. Look at the evidence. Of course you're gonna have that shit. That's why I say even she decided to run for a political position, a senator, congressman, like whatever. Nigga, they following her. You know what I mean? Like they gonna follow her.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Hypothetically speaking, we've seen what we've seen with the artists that we don't talk about on this show, right? What would Beyonce have to do to have a similar outcome? Like, is there anything that she could do to make people be like, nah, I'm kind of off Beyonce for that. That was kind of weak. Like that was.
What could she do to push people off her?
Is it even possible? Is it possible for Beyonce to ever go full Kanye?
I just don't think she's that dumb. I don't think. No. I think she's so well protected. She's seen all of the horror stories in front of her very eyes. I don't know what she could possibly. I don't think it's possible. I can't envision her doing something
I legitimately,
to piss people off.
I legitimately do not. I think like when I say like there's levels to this shit, like Kanye was at one point and rock stars and musicians are at one point. When it comes to Beyonce, bro, I don't think she's at a point where like she could ever do anything that people would just like stop fucking with her. Like I think Beyonce could show up in a Trump hat. Beyonce could show up in a MAGA hat, and
that would be the thing. That would be the thing.
Right, maybe.
That would be the thing. If Beyonce showed up, bro, that's the one thing. That's the one and only thing that Beyonce.
But we know it's so out of the realm of possibility.
Because we know Beyonce is not going to ever.
Exactly.
She's never going to betray us like some other people.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's. Guess I'll be getting in trouble this week.
Nah, I mean, we'll be all right.
I don't know if she ain't the best singer. I'm sorry.
You don't think she's the best singer?
I don't. And I think Mariah can blow her out the water. I'm sorry.
I think Beyonce could go blow for blow with any singer ever to do it.
I don't.
There's just certain songs. If you listen to certain songs where it calls for that,
I'm not saying she's not a good singer. I'm not saying that. I don't think she's the best. I'm just saying she's not the best singer, and that's fine because she's showing other ways in her career how she can remain. I believe in you. Beyonce is a phenomenal artist across the board. Every artist has their lacking point. Jay has his lacking point. Mike had his lacking points. Mariah has her points. Everyone has them. Beyonce, for me, vocally, is not the greatest singer. That's all.
But who the fuck are we, right? We're not.
Who the fuck cares about our opinion? Men talking about women shit.
Women shit. But Beyonce's not women shit. Beyonce is everyone's shit. It's everyone's shit.
I think I stepped in some shit.
If we can't talk about Beyonce as fans, as music connoisseurs, you know what I mean?
That's why I brought up the point. I'm like, bro, that's why I gave you my opinion on her singing.
Listen, Black is King was fucking phenomenal. Phenomenally shot.
I don't see any artist pulling that shit off.
God,
I don't see any other artist pulling that shit off.
It looked like...
Any other artist.
It looked like... gosh, I don't know. I don't know how much money that shit cost. I don't know how long it took, but bro,
shout out to everyone that we do know that was part of that. Clover.
They all signed the non-disclosure agreements.
Shout out to Clover. She helped write it. Shout out to my homegirl Destiny. She helped design some of the bodysuits Beyonce did. But it was a lot of just putting people on, recognizing Black businesses, actors.
Beyonce is good. Beyonce is good for putting on some Black folks, bro.
Listen, that's
she's good for that.
You're literally naming the things why we cannot.
Bro, like I said, I will never say a bad word about Beyonce.
I hate that you dragged me into this.
I'll never say a bad word about Beyonce, bro.
As soon as you say, yo, Beyonce's, I'm like,
Beyonce's she's the top of the conversation. That's how powerful she is, bro. Like, she dropped something we talking about. This is a sports show. For the most part.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, well, Beyonce talks, we gonna listen and we gonna respond. And again, I know not to dance around that topic. I know never to, you know, shake the beehive or whatever.
No, not at all.
But the beehive itself, worth talking about. Their power, how they do it.
Let's not.
I'm not.
I wish Jake was here. We're like, yo, what else we got?
What else we got, Jake?
We've danced along that line. Okay, we're good. We did about 30, about 30 minutes.
About 30?
Yeah, did about 30. Let's ease on out.
Ease on down the road.
I know where this goes.
Shout out to Netflix. They released a shit ton, or are going to release a bunch of classic black sitcoms.
Yeah, so it's Moesha, The Game, Half and Half, a couple other shows.
Right. Now, have you watched? When was the last time I watched Moesha?
Like years ago.
I watched some Moesha today, and a lot of fat jokes. Like, a whole lot of fat. I was like, yo, ain't that your girl? Like, what you?
Bro, there were a lot of jokes from these early sitcoms, like a Martin or like a Living Color.
Oh yeah.
Or fucking like the Wayans brothers. A lot of those jokes were accepted or acceptable during that time. It was rough. It was, you know, grungy, like how we talk to each other, how we criticize each other, how we talk to our women, how we talk to our niggas. That was just the regular rhetoric.
Right.
Today,
who boy?
That's not accepted.
Never did I ever think that Brandy would be getting caught under the gun.
It's just
over. So it's almost like, all right, so we see Moesha. All right, I was watching. I've seen a couple of tweets. I've seen a couple of, I don't want to say think pieces, but people are pretty much talking about how Kim, who was played by Countess Vaughn, who's one of Brandy's best friends, was on the butt end of a lot of jokes about her weight. And now, granted, she wasn't even that big, all right? But she was bigger than her friends. But
stop.
Edin. Stop it.
Well, here we go talking about some women shit we're not talking about.
So, yo, all right, so come on, man. Like, what are we doing here?
Good.
What are we doing here?
I'm listening.
Like, yo, y'all can talk.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
So the point is, right, the point I'm trying to make is, I'm not gonna become one of those like, oh my gosh, I can't stand cancel culture type of dudes, because I do believe, like, granted, you know, even everything I said on Flagrant 2, I believe all that. You know what I mean? I believe you should be able to say whatever you want to say as long as it doesn't, you know what I mean, negatively affect somebody like immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're a comedian, especially if it's for the sake of telling jokes, especially if it's for any of that type of stuff. I'm like, you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. You're not a pastor, you're not an elected official, you're not any of that shit. It's just jokes, right? Now we're at the point, and like I used to say a lot, we got to the point where so many people have become so sensitive about every fucking thing that comes out. And granted, I understand there's a lot of mental trauma that could probably go into a young black, I'm assuming teenage girl at the time, being told by the world that she's fat, and then, you know, years later probably like doesn't, you know, feel good about herself or something like that. I totally understand that. Like, I understand that could suck. That being said, there's gotta be certain levels to this shit, right? Like, in regards to like, well, it was 20 fucking years ago. You know what I mean? People getting upset about this shit now. It's like, yo, what do you really aim to do?
This is what I was saying. Like, back then, the rhetoric and the narrative was, you know, you snapping on your friends, you snapping on your niggas, and no matter if they fat, dark skin, light skin, whatever, like, light skin jokes, dark skin jokes. Like, you saw how Martin was talking to Pam. Like, you saw how Martin cracked on Gina. Like,
people trying to cancel Martin.
Yeah, like,
people trying to cancel Moesha.
That's just what it was back then.
That was 90s shoot. That was black 90s '90s humor back then, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it still is our humor.
It's like me and Lo still snap with each other to this day.
Still is, like,
I snap on. I mean, I haven't snapped on End in a minute, but like we snap on each other. Like that's what we do.
It's just like nowadays, everything is hypersensitive, and I can understand half of that point about, we can't say certain things, and we shouldn't, have these certain jokes about our own and dark-skinned women and light-skinned women and bougie and this, that, that. Like, I get that, but that's how we communicate with each other. So when the outside world looks at, Moesha and they hear Martin or they watch fucking Wayne's Brothers or The Living Color, it looks harsh. Yeah. It looks crazy. It sounds...
We're seeing it from a third eye view.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
If somebody like came and listened to our conversations within each other, they'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Exactly.
But it's just, nowadays, it's too sensitive of a time.
It's become a parody of itself. It's like, I understand, like, to me, it all started with, actual disgusting people doing disgusting things to ensure power over people in a certain industry. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
And then it somehow degenerated down to like, you said something that hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? It didn't even have to be said to you. Like, I'm being offended on this person's behalf because this person can't speak up for themselves and stand up for themselves.
Bill Burr said something real interesting. Bill Burr is a comedian from Boston or something like that.
I'm assuming it's Boston.
Yeah. So Bill Burr, a comedian, he said that, the one thing he worries about, he was talking with Jerry Seinfeld on Comedians and Cars Getting Coffee.
Love that show.
And he was talking to Jerry about, people romanticizing bad jokes or being upset about bad jokes or being upset about things that comedians say. Like, his whole stance was, if you don't like what I'm saying, like, hire a personal comedian to come to your house and give you a list of shit that they don't want you to say. That's how he feels like this is what this era is now.
I mean, that's what it's turning into. That's what it's gonna come down to. I mean, granted, I'm always gonna have a love for comedy, stand-up comedians especially. Just because I feel like they're the philosophers of our time, right? Like, I feel like
that's their job.
I'm not gonna call people of our time like Socrates or whatever, but like the people that like whose words live beyond us aren't just people who just said shit. Yeah. They're people who kind of like philosophize life in a way that's digestible. And in the year 2020, a lot of that for a lot of people is humor.
Bro, like, listening to Chris Rock when he would speak about politics. He would break that shit down in ways where I'm like, oh, right, I get that.
Right.
Jerry Seinfeld. I learned about Seinfeld. I called about Seinfeld late.
Yeah.
And just like those conversations. Oh, Louis Black.
Yes. Yeah.
Those, I'm like, comedians help break down that wall of understanding of life.
Yeah.
Religion, politics, entertainment.
They're the sugar for the medicine of life.
Bro, they know how to break down those walls. And when you take away that component where they can't be honest and even vulnerable or even just like straight to the fucking point, you take that away from them, which is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You're losing a part of a conversation that's necessary for understanding, period. They're very, very, comedians are very particular on how they deliver their message.
And they're very important.
And they're very, very important.
If anybody has
that gift that they have, that's unparalleled.
Yeah. If there's anybody whose job it is to let us know where the lines are.
Right.
It's comedians.
Right.
Like, there aren't fucking, like I said, there aren't politicians, there aren't elected officials, there aren't religious figures. They're just guys observing shit. They're not gonna talk about it if it ain't happening.
They're observing shit and they just have a better way of articulating it back to you.
Right.
Even though we're looking at the same thing and we're hearing the same shit, that is their gift. It's like, tell me this experience as if I'm a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old. And they make me laugh.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's the power they have. And that's a very fucking heavy power to have.
Extremely.
You look at Chappelle.
Chappelle's one of the greatest to do it. But this kind of ties back to the whole Moesha thing, where there wasn't a whole lot of black shows. I mean, now there is, but like back then, Moesha, the one-on-ones, Parkers, Martin, Fresh Prince, In Living Color. Like, I feel like back then, we support so many black shows because it was important to see these things on TV, right? And make sure people watched them and supported them and all that type of stuff. For 25 years later, or 20 some odd years later, to get upset over, gosh, what is in most situations, in most cases of the show, 99% of it, it's a very good, informative, funny, like type of show. Right? Yeah. Like, there's no way that you should be able to take somebody's joke or say something that, you know, somebody may not feel a way about because you've seen it from the third person's point of view and felt embarrassed on their behalf.
I mean, again, to your point about, you know, Moesha's friend, what was her name? Kim.
Yeah.
You know, there are people nowadays, not to say they're not back in the day, weren't dealing with this kind of shit, but there are people, you know, who deal with body imaging, or who deal with body shaming, or who deal with complexion shaming, who deal with, you know, growing up in a poor home, or whatever the case was. Those jokes were very, very prominent back when we were growing up as kids. Like that's what it was. So when you fast forward 20 years later to now, to seeing all the things that are going on in the world, the slightest thing could throw somebody off. The slightest thing could, you know, push somebody to the edge and like, oh my God, I'm so fat and I don't want to be looked at like this, or is my skin so dark, or am I not pretty? That's why, you know, Black is King is something that's, you know, that's relevant, because it's like, no, every part of you is beautiful. So I understand why people may look at Moesha and the jokes that are happening like, damn, like that's fucked up. And
I'll tell you this,
I get it, but again, to the other side, that's how we spoke to each other back in the day. That's what the shows was like. You were looking inside of our community and our friendships and our relationships. That's how we spoke to each other.
Yeah.
Not to say it was right, but that's what it was. So it's just like, it's hard to, I get both sides is what I'm saying. I understand both sides. So it's hard to poke at it, but it's hard to not understand it. You know what I mean? So I get it, but
I mean, I do feel like, you know, you mentioned Chappelle, and Chappelle said something about, you know, people having brittle spirits. Yeah. I do feel like a lot of us and a lot of this sort of, oh my gosh, this joke from 20 years ago, how did we let that go type of mentality is a result of a brittle spirit now. I mean, like, she took them jokes, and what happened? She got the fucking Parkers a couple months later. You know what I'm saying? Like, she got her own sitcom or her own spinoff, and it's like, you know, why we, you know, I understand like the ability to try and cape for people, but like, yo, people are fucking strong, all right? Like, we don't gotta be like so sensitive to everybody's needs to be like, oh my God, like, how is this person gonna go on because somebody said she needs to go on a diet?
I guess
like she's not a brittle person. Like, most people aren't brittle people. Most people go through a lot of shit and take a lot of shit and become stronger because of it. And you know what, man? Like, the world ain't that fucking sweet out there. Like, it's very easy to just be like, oh, well, like, you know, if everyone just was more, you know, conscious of people's microaggressions and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, all right, that's great and all, but like, that don't come from somebody who just didn't have it in them already, who didn't have a strong spirit, a strong will.
But I guess to you know, spit back, there are people in this world that are fucked up. There are people in this
1000%.
world that are sensitive. There are people in this world who aren't built to even hear a narrative that has been thrown in their face since they were a child, or since they were whatever the case is. There are people that are being told these things behind closed doors, that you are not pretty enough, that you are too big, that you are not smart enough, you're not accepted. Those things are being said. So when we have these shows that come back up 20 years later and be like, yo, that was kind of toxic, and they see it and it's like, oh shit, it was on TV. So people on TV are saying this about me. Like, someone is looking at Kim as if that's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's I get it. The world is a fucking tough place, bro. You gotta pay your taxes and die. I get it. But if we can help, especially right now, if we can help people ease through certain things, if we can help people understand why things are being said, if we can help people understand that you are special no matter what your size, color, race, religion, whatever the case is, if we can help people understand that, then cool, let's do it. But it's tough, bro. Like this, it's a tough line to deal with. It's a tough line to identify. Like, where's that line? Where is it where it's funny? Or it's true, or it's just for fucking jokes. It's now, and now everything is this. Yeah. Everything is here.
Yeah.
So when you wake up, boom, oh my God, I'm too fat. Boom, oh, these people think this about me. Boom, oh my God, I see it. It's here now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, shit will resurface. Shit will come into your face. Shit will be said. And we just gotta be mindful. We have to be, even like with platforms like this, we gotta just make sure people understand, like, yo, I get it. Like, life is rough, like Kaz just said.
Listen, rough, I'm not gonna be somebody who's gonna try and push back against people who don't feel like we should be a little bit more mindful of people's feelings, especially given everything we've learned in the past 25 years about mental health,
right?
Especially in the Black community.
Right.
That's definitely not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is, you can't become a parody of yourself. Like, you can't use something which is the ability to mobilize your voices to create actual change, to use them for things that really don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of times we get so unfocused on shit that really doesn't fucking matter at the grand scheme of things. Like, we were so happy that these shows are coming back on Netflix because we were like, this is stuff we grew up on. This is stuff that, and at the end of the day, what did we remember about these shows? We remember that they were great shows that we all loved, that we all enjoyed, and when we announced that they were coming back on Netflix, that we could stream all of them, we were so fucking happy. Nobody was talking about, man, Moesha was kind of trash though. Like, oh man, Kim was kind of...
We're now looking, and that's why these think pieces are probably happening. We're now looking at these shows in a different lens.
Yeah.
Like, our lens is now 20 years later.
Yeah.
And even when I watch Martin damn near fucking every night, the way he used to talk to Pam was crazy. I'm like, fuck. And the crazy thing about that is, like, I had a relationship with one of my best friends. Her name is Baina. She lives in Virginia.
We all had a Martin and Pam.
I had a Martin and Pam's relationship with that. That was my nigga.
Yeah.
Like, that was.
But that's what it was like on the show too, though.
That was my
nigga. If anybody came at Pam outside of Martin, like, they would squat up for Pam.
I don't know. The things that I was saying to her or the jokes that we were making, did it really affect her? Did it carry on after we graduated high school? Did it stick with her? Back then that's how we talk to people. But did it really fuck with her? Did it fuck with her head? Like,
I mean, I definitely think about that too.
Like, that's what I'm saying. So when I'm looking at, Martin and the Wayans brother and the Living Color, I'm like, damn, like, y'all niggas is beasting on these.
I mean, bro,
shit.
I think about that shit a lot, man. Like, I think about like those high school lunch tables where
getting that niggas.
It was war zones, bro, man. Like, we would fucking go in and like, 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Like, if your snapping skills was on point, like, you'd be good the next day. And if not, like, they would literally just. That's you've earned yourself a nickname for the rest of your high school career, and that shit would suck. And then now I'm thinking about, like, damn, like, we used to really go in on people, and like, but I know people used to go in on me, and I would think about it, but
bro,
like,
and I could tell you certain things that were said to me when I was a kid, like,
fucked you up a little bit.
Still fuck with me. So I get it. I get the whole perception of, like, yo, things that are being said to Kim and people recognizing that and seeing that in them. I'm thinking, like, fuck, like, there are certain things I see on TV or hear in music that'll trigger something that was said to me when I was like a kid in high school and niggas was cracking on me. And that, I'm 37, that shit's, I'm like, fuck, it still hits, so I get it. I get it.
At the same time, and I talked to my fiance about this before he came in, like, what about, is there anything to say that's good about being prepared for life like this, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, I believe that if Donald Trump was bullied just a little bit more, like if somebody just like gave him a couple more extra wedgies, if somebody came up to him and slapped him a few times, he would be a little bit more empathetic of other people. He would give more fucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, knowing that, like, I've been bullied. I've done the bullying, knowing that I've cracked jokes. I've had jokes cracked on me. I've been told everything I shit is gold, and I've told that I just ain't shit. Like, there is a certain resilience that becomes built within you mentally.
Yo, Chris Rock was like, he was like, bullying is needed.
Bullying is needed, bro.
And he said,
bullying works
he was like, bullying is needed because who are the people that are gonna cure cancer? Who's gonna find the fucking shit for AIDS? Who's gonna make the next fucking rocket shit? Like, who are the people that get bullied? They're the ones that are gonna like fix the world.
Those are the guys that change the world.
And he was like, bullying is fucking needed, and I agree with that. I get that because,
I mean, I'm saying it on the sense of like, there's certain people that either peaked in high school or like was told we see it every day. We know people like that. We know dudes that were fucking captains of the football team and still wear their varsity football jacket to this day because that's as good as it got for them. You know what I mean? When they were all the way younger. We know people that talk about high school days and how much they love it and all this shit to this day because that's as good as it got for them. And now when they grow up, they don't really know, like, well, man, shit. They get their first taste of disappointment or the first time somebody saying, you know what, you ain't shit, right? Like, what my mom told me, like, no, you ain't shit. Bye. And they don't know how to handle it. I feel like there's yin and yang to everything in this world.
right, of course.
It's hard to just go and be like, you know what, everybody should be like this. Everybody should be like that. In the good way or the bad way. Like, if you're somebody who wants the entire world to hate a certain race of people, there's bad in that. If you want everybody to love one race of people, there's bad in that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole yin and yang to that. Yeah. And when it comes to just getting snapped on a little bit, man, like, yeah, it's tough, but like, yo, you're gonna get some knee scabs when you're older. You're gonna get punched in the face a few times. If I didn't get punched in the face until I was 33 years old for the first time, how the fuck would I react?
It's just the point of it happens so much in our faces from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep. When we were getting cracked on in high school, Twitter wasn't a thing. Instagram wasn't a thing.
Right.
Social media, period, wasn't a thing. So we got joked on for a couple hours and that was it. And we went home and we watched our fucking cartoons and we ate our sandwiches, did our homework and went the fuck to sleep. We didn't stay up and watch MTV. We didn't look at fucking Love and Hip. Like, we weren't doing none of that. Our days were very, routine, specific. We knew what it was. We knew what we had to do. Now I wake up, I see it. That looks familiar. Oh my God, I'm too fat. Oh my God, I'm not smart enough. Oh my God, I'm skinny. We see it, and it's just it's detrimental to these kids and to some of these young adults. It's like a lot of this shit is detrimental and it's gonna fuck with them for a long time. So to bring it back to the point about Moesha and the fat jokes, I believe the people that are writing about this have had experiences dealing with shit like that.
Right.
It's a
they're definitely writing from a
personal triggering standpoint.
From a point of view of, I was made fun of.
I know what that looks like
at this age, and I know how it affected me. I can only imagine.
And using your platform and your voice to do that, please continue to do so. So I understand me seeing a joke from 20 years ago about how fat or dark skinned or ugly I was is now going to trigger you to be like, yo, that's a real thing. So I don't want to believe it's sensitivity. I just want to believe that it's more recognition and trying to recognize and understand, like, hey, you're not, because there are people looking at this shit like, yo, you're not alone. Like, I was that person too.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. And I want to be empathetic for you. And I want you to know that your voice is not being heard.
Right.
So yeah, I admire, I respect people bringing these situations up. But to your point, yeah, sometimes
I like to live.
Toughen up. I get it.
It's easy to live. It's easy to think about how the world should be, but to me, it's always been better to think of the world as it is.
Yeah.
And if you fail to prepare, you prepared to fail. Like, I go in thinking everybody thinks I ain't shit. I go in thinking like, you know what, I gotta win you. Like, you never heard of me, you don't know what I do, you don't know who I am. Like, you're gonna learn who I am by the end of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, having that sort of mindset state isn't built by being college your whole life. You know what I'm saying? Not to say to call everybody just drop fat jokes or retard jokes or all this type of stuff. Like, that's not cool. But I'm saying, if you're not prepared to handle life, the first time somebody comes and hits you with some shit, it'll mess you up. And that, like, the result of that is way worse than somebody snapping on you when you're 12 years old and not knowing how to handle it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got time to learn. If you get to 22, 32, 42, and somebody hits you with something like that you're not expecting, and you react irrationally, or you don't know how to take it, that may be way worse than your feelings getting hurt for a couple days as a teenager.
And that's very true. But you know, some of these kids and some of these people have come from households where they've been told by the ones that they love that you won't, you'll never physically, mentally, verbally abused. Mm-hmm. And then you step out to the world and to hear that echoed. Mm-hmm. So it's like, damn, my own flesh and blood doesn't fucking love me. Mm. And then I gotta go to school and hear that again, that I'm not shit, that I won't ever be shit, that I was a mistake or whatever the case is. Bro, that's a hard pill to swallow from two different directions. Yeah. So I get it, bro. Like, I'm not saying everyone's fucked up or whatever the case is, but like that's tough, man.
It is tough. That's tough. I'm not saying that it's not tough.
That's tough.
I'm just saying, you know, it's if you fail to prepare to fail, man.
I got you.
And this shit's gonna build you some thicker skin, and you know, it's how I'm built, man.
The trajectory is different. Obviously, it's different for everybody. Our pace of recognition and our pace of compartmentalizing shit, it's two different paces. Ed got a different pace, you got a different pace, I got a different pace. We're learning things differently, we're learning things as we go. So, yeah, you know, if I get knocked in the head, I may not react the way you did.
Right.
Or I may not understand it like the way Ed did. But it's just we're all moving in a fucking like big ass bubble trying to compartmentalize feelings, emotions. You know, it's tough, yo, bro. It's just like really, really fucking, especially right now, it's just fucking tough.
Extremely tough. Right now, everybody should be a little bit more kind to each other, especially right now. But,
so I'm not mad at the think piece. Even just having this conversation, yo, bro, I'm not. Bring that up, have that conversation, address it. You know, I respect it. I totally respect it because we're in a fucking tough position right now. Yeah, we're in a very tough position, and it's beautiful that Netflix brought Moesha back and half and Parker's and all that shit.
Boy, wait till they bring back girlfriends. There's gonna be some conversations.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of conversations.
Woo, my God.
When they bring back Martin, more conversations. But nah, you know, I respect it. Conversations need to be had. Uncomfortable.
They need to be had, bro. That's all. That was the point of the Beyonce talk. That was the point of everything.
Uncomfortable or not, they have to be got. They have to be had.
The time we get to the point that we can't even speak about certain things,
right?
And we can't even have civil discourse without people saying like, "Oh my God, you're this, you're that." Like, that's when we lose all fucking hope. That's when we lose all fucking hope. We should be able to discuss things critically, logically, with, you know, proper context, and not just from a headline or a soundbite or a clip.
And that's why comedians are always going to be very, very fucking important.
Extremely important
for that specific point.
All right. Well, speaking of bubbles, the NBA's back.
Trouble in the bubble.
All right, shit. Did you catch any games this weekend?
I watched yesterday I was watching damn, who was it? Oh, fucking Clippers
and Pelicans. Yo, let's talk about this shit. All right.
Clippers digging an 8.
Anybody who was watching,
Zion's a bust.
This is what we doing?
Zion's a bust.
We doing this already?
Zion's a bust.
Man, listen, there was a lot of things going on in New Orleans.
Zion's a bust.
So anybody who's been in the know or who's watched this NBA bubble kind of develop, we all know that this sort of 8-team seeding arrangement for the last couple of the last spots
Yeah.
for the Western Conference playoff was all made so we could see Zion versus LeBron in the first round of playoffs. Like we're no suckers. But things haven't really been going according to plan. The Pelicans look like shit. There were a lot of teams.
Did they lose about 40 yesterday?
They got hung about 40. There were everyone's sexy pick, to get that 8 spot. Like granted, John Morant's playing out of his mind.
Oof.
The
Man's
Portland Trailblazers are playing out of it. They're losing right now against the Celtics, but they got Nurkic back. They got Melo playing like Melo, Dame,
Skinny
CJ,
Melo. I like Skinny Melo.
And people forget like the Portland Trailblazers. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year, man, and they got their team back, and they're still in that mix. But everybody wanted to see Zion versus LeBron in the first round of the playoffs.
It's not gonna happen.
Boy, oh boy, have they been staking it the fuck up. Now, I don't know.
Happen.
You said Zion's a bust. It pains me to think. Let me put on my Knick hat, all right? Let me put on my Knick fan hat.
Oh, God,
okay?
here we go with this shit.
So we gotta do. Let me put on my Knick fan hat, right? Sometimes you look at what could have been with the Knicks, right? You know all this. We've seen all the photoshops. We've seen the photoshops of Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, and oh my God, how did you miss all those guys? And da-da-da-da-da. The Knicks are a laughing stock, blah, blah, blah. What if this was happening to the Knicks? What if Zion couldn't play 10 minutes without huffing and puffing, even though they had a whole photo of him on his Instagram page looking super strong? Bro. Bro, I don't know. Yo, like, fam.
That nigga's a buzz, bro. I'm not rooting for him. This is just sports talk.
I'm not calling him a bust yet. I think
he didn't look good. He didn't look good.
I'm not necessarily sure if it's on him yet. Like now you calling him a bust. Now
Who else is it on?
The organization. They got him on these minutes restrictions and shit. They're only playing him like 10 minutes at a time or 15 minutes. Played 14 minutes last game, right?
Okay, well.
He's 20 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
Why the hell?
Niggas should be running up and down that court every fucking minute.
I would kill for my 20-year-old legs right now. I would kill for my 20-year-old legs. How in the hell can this kid not play more than 15 minutes a game?
So is it the restriction from the man from the organization, or he can't?
I think it's from the organization, but at this point, it's like, dog, like these ain't.
Aren't they fighting for the last spot?
These ain't for play games. These games count.
Yeah.
Like you traded damn near your whole roster. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got a pretty good load back. Lonzo was playing good. Mm-hmm. Brandon Ingram's looking like a killer. Mm-hmm. JJ Redick's gonna be JJ Redick, and Derek Favors is good. Zion was supposed to be the X factor. Number 1 overall pick, fucking, transcending talent.
You know what you just did?
What?
Zion, X Factor. You see it? Okay, sorry. No, okay, fine, whatever. Continue.
You know what's funny about that Lauryn Hill joke?
What?
I caught it late.
That's what I'm saying. Because I just got like. Okay, that was good. That almost went over my head. That was good. Got it. I had to do the Odell Beckham for the fucking joke. I'm like, I got what you're saying.
Anyway, Zion was supposed to be the X factor for this Pelicans team, right? And now it doesn't even look like. There's only a couple games left before they start the real playoffs, and they're kind of like playing from behind. I think the Blazers, if I'm correct, I think the Blazers and the Grizzlies are ahead of them. Mm-hmm. And it's looking like a disaster, bro. Like, I really wanted to see Zion in this bubble.
Bro,
And
I thought he was going to be a beast.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was going to come back.
And he has been. He has been in... before the break happened. The games that he played, it was like, okay, like this.
I would just think coming back now, all the time you had off to refine your game, your body, to just put more effort and more work into it. I thought it would be he'd come out like a fucking lightning rod.
That's what I thought.
And it just looks like I don't know if it was something else is going on with him or if he's not focused or whatever the case is, but it just doesn't look like he's.
That's what I thought.
He's prepared for.
I was under the impression that the time off between March and now, if it was going to help anybody, it was going to be him. You know what I mean? Like, he was already recuperating from some injuries.
Yeah.
He was getting back in shape. They was teaching him how to walk. Now I'm a little worried. Now I'm like...
I don't know what's going on over there.
Now I'm like, I'm getting like... Embiid first couple of years type of vibes from him. Like, I remember they had the fucking kid gloves on Joel Embiid, and like he was almost like a running joke how many times he was just sitting on the sideline, he's just watching people play every single day. And granted, like Embiid was like legit hurt, like he was getting
of course,
knee injuries, ankle injuries, hand injuries, all types of shit. But at this point, if there's no like significant injury, is this something that like
something else is going on?
Like, is something else going? Like something don't smell right, man. Like I feel like a tinfoil hat time. Like just putting on my
conspiracy
theory right here. I mean, like the NBA is losing a lot of money not being able to go into all these arenas.
Yeah, of course.
Right, losing a ton of money. The only reason why this bubble is even happening, the only reason why these games are even taking place, and why they're being televised, every single one, is to make money, because we don't know when we'll be able to pack fans into a stadium again. So we got to get as much
for another year
as we can.
Yeah.
So the whole reason, the one way they was going to make money is with the marquee players, and there wasn't nobody that's more marquee than Zion Williamson
and LeBron James.
And LeBron James. And we want to see that first round matchup. I don't think we're gonna see it now. I think
meanwhile, 17 years in, Bron is acting a fool.
Yeah.
That nigga is in that bubble.
Yeah.
Getting to the business.
Yeah. I mean, his shooting's been a little off, but as far as it's still being sharp.
What he looks like?
Yeah.
That nigga is a fucking monster. He clamped up PG and Kawhi in the last 15 seconds of that opener. That boy is...
Statement made.
That nigga is ready.
It's game winner, the game winning bucket, rebounds his own bucket, goes, guards the two best players
in the West
on one team in back-to-back possessions, shuts them both down, and wins the game.
And here comes Zion eating gumbo.
So LeBron, like, it's crazy. Like, even with those...
Bro, you asked me to be here, bro. You asked me to be here, my nigga. Like, you brought me into this shit today. You started with the Beyonce shit, and now you got me rolling. So I don't want to hear no shit about why would you know. I'm rolling now.
Bro, say what you gotta say. Say what you gotta say. I love jambalaya just as much as anybody. I ain't gonna belly shame no one around here, especially not Zion. But I do say, like, even with the great play at the end of the Clippers game with the Los Angeles Lakers, people still saying like LeBron hasn't really like been LeBron yet. Now, granted, they're the 1 seed. I think that's pretty solidified.
Yeah.
So I think people who's
we're not gonna see Bron until that playoff shit starts. We're not like right now. We don't have to see Bron. They're first in the West. They're representing. They're doing great. You're not gonna see 0 dark 30 Bron until that first game starts. You're not going to see the glasses, and no team has ever come back from 3-1. That's when when the playoffs light up, we're going to see LeBron James. We're getting a preview of what this is going to look like.
I hope so. I mean,
I definitely hope so too. Like,
granted,
you never know.
Granted, I watched him last night. He didn't look that great against Toronto.
Yeah,
and
they lost.
They lost.
Oh, okay.
And the Raptors are the defending champs. And
they got a lot to prove.
Granted, those are two very good teams for the Lakers to play in their first game. The Los Angeles Clippers and Toronto Raptors, two of the probably best teams in the league. A lot of people thought, Kawhi leaving Toronto, they'll be all right, this is cute, they got a nice little record, but they're not going to do anything worth a shit. Bro, I feel like we might be, especially in this environment, in this setting where nobody has home court advantage, and execution is key, and teamwork is key, and coaching is key, and being able to listen to your teammates, and the teams that seem like they're the most together are going to win. That's a team that lost one player. Granted, he's an all fucking world MVP, phenomenal player.
Right.
But there's something to be said about chemistry and continuity from going through that championship run that I don't think a lot of teams are respecting about the Toronto Raptors right now. Me included. Like, I'm still not fully convinced that I wouldn't take Boston or Milwaukee, or even like if they get their shit together, Philly over Toronto. But every time I'm sitting here thinking, okay, it's Milwaukee's East. Oh, it's Philly's East. Oh, it's Boston's East. There go the Raptors. beating the Lakers. There go the Raptors beating somebody.
The Raptors have a lot to prove. They lost their star player.
They're the champs until proven otherwise.
They are still the current NBA champions. This bubble situation has everyone frazzled.
Yeah.
This bubble situation has taken everyone out their comfort zone. You're not in your stadium. You're not at home. You can't do your regular rituals. This is an AAU tournament. Yeah. This is what the bubble is. The bubble's an AAU tournament. Can you figure out a way to keep that same mentality if you were at the Staples Center? If you were at, the TD Garden in Boston? Like, can these teams still have that hometown mentality?
Yeah.
And we're going to see who can really measure up to what needs to be done.
Yeah, it's been weird to see. It's been like...
It's very odd. It's very awkward, like, just watching the games. And, I'm like, this is weird. I don't hear anybody.
Yeah.
Everyone, we all have to adjust. What the fuck are the NBA Finals going to look like?
Yeah,
in the bubble?
What does the championship celebration look like?
Yeah, so imagine how they're thinking. Imagine how these players are thinking, these coaches, these organizations are thinking. These you got to crunch down now. You got to really get it from the mud and figure out a way, because like I said a couple episodes ago, this is the easiest path to a championship.
But now I'm starting to think like, well, the funness of the bubble has kind of wore off already, right? Like the first couple of weeks, everyone's
interesting. Yeah, it was interesting.
Everybody's having fun, and I'm sure some people still are. But now people got to go fish and do this stuff like after a loss, or like after a practice, or after a hard game where they should be icing up and all that type of shit. And it's like you can't be around. You're not getting your regular routine, and you're not around your family. You're not around your friends. You don't get the food that you want. Like you don't get like specific things that
your rituals are broken.
Yeah,
your routines are cut off. Now it's figuring out how do I remain normal for me, but then bring back that energy of normalcy from my teammates. Yeah, and every team has to go through that.
And that's why I'm looking at these teams that are either fucking older or have a lot of time in together. Like, that's why a lot of people are seeing the Toronto Raptors running like a well-oiled machine. They're showing highlights on like House of Highlights and ESPN of them passing the ball 10 times to get an open shot.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
Those are the type of teams that win championships, man. Like, it's usually in the NBA Finals or in certain like championship leagues or championship teams, those otherworldly MVP players are usually lifted up by either extraordinary circumstances or extraordinary fan base support, right? Like, the best LeBron James you've ever seen was when he was down 3-1 in Golden State and just went fucking berserk. The best LeBron before that was Game 6 in Boston, in Miami, when he fucking goes berserk. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that get motivated by everybody counting them out. There's some people that get motivated by being, having the whole team behind them and going for it. Now all these variables are kind of stripped away, and we're at a point that we're seeing how teams kind of react after losses and wins. Like, I don't think there's been a whole lot of teams that have really, and that's the reason why a lot of the games have been very, very close. Because there's so much parity in the league. Outside of like a few superstars, like there's not really a super team. Like, the super team era is kind of gone. Like, every really good team maybe has 2 great players and a bunch of really good ones. Or, now we're at a point where it's just like, yo, I have no idea. It literally is anybody's championship.
That's why I said this is kind of like, I'm gonna keep saying this. I think this is an easy way to the ring, but they got to figure out all the teams got to figure out what's going to be best for them. Yeah. From the Raptors to the Nuggets to the Blazers to the Rockets to the Lakers. Yeah. What is going to be the best way for us? How fast, and this is happening fast. How fast can we get in sync? And the Lakers look like they're in sync. They look like they're having a good time. They do. They look like, they're enjoying themselves. And, okay, they lost to the Raptors, whatever the case is, but they look like...
I don't think that's a that's a detriment to the Lakers because Anthony Davis and LeBron didn't play that well. I think it's more of a big up to the Raptors.
No disrespect to the Raptors.
They've been doing this all year,
Right.
and everyone's just kind of like, that's cute. Like, oh, that's cute. Now it's just like,
Uh-oh.
they might really fuck around and repeat. Like, what if that happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lakers are a team they could very much well see in the finals.
Yeah.
Looking at Toronto, there's not really a team out there outside of like maybe Giannis when he's in God mode. There's not really a team in the Eastern Conference that really scares me if I'm Toronto. Like, there's not a team out there that I would be like legitimately surprised if like they lose.
Toronto, it's I think, you know, it's Toronto and Milwaukee. Those are the only two teams in the East that are really would scare me.
Yeah.
Those are the two teams that would scare me.
And that's Giannis. And I feel like, you know, and she wouldn't talk about people that's been on their shit since the bubble.
Yeah.
My gosh. Like, anybody who is thinking like, oh, maybe it might be Giannis or maybe it might be LeBron for a regular season MVP, like, it's Giannis, bro. Like,
if Bron starts, they are with the MVP thing. They said they're
not counting the bubble games. So
gotcha.
like,
so it's only March. It's up till March.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's Giannis, bro.
So
he's gonna get it again.
Giannis,
he deserves it, man. The motherfucker's been.
Yeah, Giannis probably got it. But Bron is acting up. I can't wait to see that nigga in the playoffs.
Man, I mean, but I just love
to see him in the playoffs.
This kind of reminds me of like the first couple of days of March Madness where there's basketball all day long.
Bro, I'm waking up like, I'm like, nigga, there's a game on?
There's a game on.
Okay, there's a game on.
This is fantastic.
Scrimmage, cool. I watched this.
I could do this forever, bro. Like, listen, granted, like, I know there's...
That's what I say, yo. That's what I'm saying. It's an AAU tournament, nigga. When you pulled up the AAU, there was a game at 12, there was a game at 2, there was a game at 4, there was a game at 6, bro.
All day long.
All day fucking long,
and I'm loving it.
This
like, the West Coast games aren't on all late until like 2 in the morning. Like, I can watch Inside the NBA at like a reasonable hour, fall asleep, wake up to Charmed, like do all this shit. Like, do this shit like we're supposed to do. And like, yo, granted, I understand the NBA is losing a lot of money as far as like, you know.
We're entertained. Fuck your pockets. We're liking this shit.
There are things that I hope they take with them. Yeah. Like, I truly believe summer basketball is where it's at, bro.
This shit is fire.
Like, summer basketball.
Bro, imagine if the bubble was in New York.
See, I heard something like that.
Imagine
if the bubble was in New York, bro. Man,
what?
Listen.
How many games you been going to?
Man, listen. I hope for, you know, for the foreseeable future, which I think they're doing, maybe there'll be extra bubbles when the new season starts. I know they're not going to have, they're definitely not going to be able to have, you know, regular traveling team. We already saw what Major League Baseball's doing and they fucked that up completely. But I do believe there's an opportunity to have more than one bubble for the next season.
Bro, that would be fine.
One in Florida, one in Vegas, one in New York, one in LA.
Bro, if they got a bubble in New York, whatever hotel y'all niggas are staying at, I'm about to sign up a hotel tonight. Book a month straight.
Just put them on the West Side Highway, play all the games at the Javits Center or something.
A bubble at the Javits Center?
Bro. It'll man, you never know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, New York is pretty much almost back to normal soon. Like,
niggas was at last lap last night. So we good.
I mean, bro, granted.
We good.
We still don't have a vaccine.
Nah, still nothing, but you know.
Hopefully things will get figured out. What else we got? How much time we got, Eddie? What else we got? We good? All right, so let's see. Should we wrap up soon? I think we can wrap up soon. Yeah, fuck it.
How long are we going?
Oh, perfect. All right, cool. Yeah, so shit, man. You got anything else before we get out of here, man? Oh, did we talk verses?
Oh, okay. Did we talk verses last time?
I think we talked verses on Tuesday. But
we did.
So it'll be this Thursday.
Yes, this Thursday.
All right, so we'll talk about it on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's this Thursday. Yeah. Chi Chi will be out. When does this episode come out?
Tomorrow.
So yeah, Chi Chi will be out today.
Perfect.
Yeah, all right, Chi will be out today. Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, Chi Chi versus Battle, Apple Music. Y'all know the whole drill.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also, always make sure you check in the Best of Say Less on What's the Sports and Brother YouTube social media pages with you know, every Friday. My fault. I don't know why I fucking blanked out on that.
Where the fuck were you going?
But shout out to all the guests that have come through the Best of Say Less. Last week's episode with Jock Slade was really awesome. I think this week we'll probably have show some highlights from the Tish Allen interview. So we'll see. You'll make your Whistle Sports debuts.
I think this will be the episode that I get in trouble.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? You stood your ground, buddy.
Not backing down, but I think this is the episode.
This is the thing. The fact that we know, or you have a feeling that you're gonna get in trouble just for saying anything critical about Beyonce.
I just said I don't think she has the best voice. That's all.
I didn't say that. Lo said that.
Y'all out here. Fuck this shit, bro.
Anyway, it's been Say Less with Kaz and Lowkey. I'm Kaz, that's Low. Y'all stay safe, stay free, and always, always, always say less.
And put your fucking mask on.